ironically enough, Dianne has been watching this story since inception, many years ago now, about 12 years ago, Dianne.
Yeah.
So interesting that they started with the language expert and really trying to understand the meaning of this phrase that is said to have been used by the Western Cape Judge President, Ses'thembele kinina. We pin our hopes on you.
Yes.
Why is it so important that the court understands, or the Judicial Service Commission rather, understands what was really being said here?
Yeah. Well, I think that this issue of this phrase really goes to the question of whether Judge Hlophe tried to influence Justice Nkabinde or Justice Jafta. He went and he had 2 meetings at the Constitutional Court. In the one meeting, he's said to have said to Justice Jafta, after talking to him about the Jacob Zuma matter, Ses'thembele kinina, which has been taken by the judges of the Constitutional Court to say those of us or those of us in support of Jacob Zuma are sort of expecting a ruling in a particular way. And that was one of the things that was put to the witness, to say that the previous tribunal had heard that he was suggesting that the Supreme Court of Appeal ruled in the wrong way, and that there was trust or hope that the Constitutional Court would rule in the right way, i.e. in favor of former President Jacob Zuma. So it is actually quite central to the question of, was there an attempt to influence? Of course, Judge Hlophe is saying he wasn't saying that. He was just saying that, or the language expert actually saying that he interprets it as having said that there was hope that the court would reach the correct conclusion, but not trying to sway it either way.
It's interesting because the witness also coming under a bit of a push there in terms of giving his own interpretation of what Judge Hlophe could possibly have meant, versus just giving the Judicial Service Commission the options in terms of nuances that they should be open to when reading meaning into it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he was asked, since you are saying that there are 5 possible descriptions or translations of this, why are you kind of veering towards this one direction? And his explanation is that context is important, and what he took into consideration is who the people were that were having the conversation and what could have been meant by that conversation. But of course, he was then asked by Advocate Gilbert Marcus, who really tried to drive home that point, that he wasn't in the conversation himself. He didn't interview either of the judges. So what was he relying on? He says he was relying on the previous testimony given at the tribunal that concluded in 2009. Now that also kind of doesn't leave it completely answered, really, because even after that tribunal, the outcome was kind of to say that actually there wasn't cross-examination, detailed cross-examination to go to the detail of what was meant. And also there's been some dispute over whether the 2 judges in question actually believe that there should even be a complaint. They went to court subsequently to say they are not complaining, so why are they being pulled into this? They have their own legal representatives there as well.
That's going to be another interesting nub of the story, right? Because some of those justices have since retired. Recently we heard Justice Dianne Moseneke in his book talk about the John Hlophe matter and why he believes it's something that they needed to report and why they brought the complaint before the Judicial Service Commission. Is it going to matter that whether it's Justice Chris Jafta and the former Justice Jess Nkabinde, is it going to matter that they effectively are saying they don't think this matter should be looked at?
Well, I think that they will have to come and explain further, and they'll definitely face cross-examination. I don't think that it matters at this point because the complaint is there and the complaint must be adjudicated. But what I found interesting about today's testimony is the question that was put to the witness sort of towards the end of the testimony about the minutes. And I think it was just in that bite that we played there where there was a question about what happened in the meeting, because the witness says that he's of the view that Judge Jafta was on the same understanding as Judge Hlophe at the end of the meeting, but only after he went into a meeting with his bosses, essentially, did he then change his mind. So if that is the contention being put forward by Judge Hlophe's team, one would imagine that those who were in the meeting might be called to testify. And that was also something alluded to earlier on in the proceedings when the lawyer for the Constitutional Court judges said, please let us know if you would like some of our clients to make themselves available. He even suggested that it would be Judge Moseneke, Judge Cato Reagan, and Judge Mohoro, and that they are spread across the country, so they need some prior notice.
Judge Hlophe has made his own allegations around Chief Justice Mogoeng. Is that expected to feature at all within this particular tribunal or hearing?
No, this hearing is only focusing on the 2008 complaint. So it's only dealing with that matter. There's a separate process that will get underway on the 14th of December in which a Judicial Conduct Committee will look at the appeal brought by Judge Hlophe in the second complaint. So we're definitely going to see, just in this month of December, quite a lot of movement, which I think is actually good, because for a long time these matters have been hanging and we do need to see some kind of finality.
Was there any explanation for why it's taken 12 years for these hearings to get underway?
Well, part of the reason for the delay, we know, is because of the many court cases that were brought by the various judges. There were about 14 different court cases that have been brought over time. Why, since the judgments of those cases, there's been a delay, there wasn't any explanation. But I suppose it's not for the tribunal to really say. They've got to get their work underway, which they said they will try and do within the course of this week. We heard that Judge Advocate or Courtney Griffiths from Judge Hlophe's team, he had said that he doesn't anticipate that the evidence tomorrow, or his examination tomorrow, will take too long. So perhaps by the end of this week they will have concluded evidence, and then we'll have to wait for the tribunal to write its report, submit that report to the Judicial Service Commission, and they will then have to deliberate and give an outcome.
So then what are we expecting tomorrow? I know you've touched a little bit on it in your last answer.
Well, we are expecting Judges Ngabinde and Jafta to testify tomorrow. We heard at the beginning of the proceedings that they were both present. They were listening in an adjacent room. At the beginning, Judge Ngabinde was in the room. We saw her also at tea time. She looked like, she actually was smiling and chatting with.
Oh, she didn't look busy with the investigation into the fitness of the public protector to hold office.
Look, I think she had to focus on these particular proceedings.
No, I'm just teasing. Go ahead, Diane.
Yes. So I mean, she was present. We didn't see Judge Jafta, and we were told that there was a possibility that one of the two judges would testify via Zoom. However, it seems like they might both be present, and we might hear from them both tomorrow morning. And really, I think that's what everyone's waiting for, to hear from the people who were in that conversation about what they thought about that conversation.
It's going to be such a big day, certainly one to look forward to. Dianne Hawker is going to be keeping an eye on that story for us. As you can hear, she knows every corner of this particular story. Dianne Hawker there.